Teaching your kids about investing. I know, it can sound pretty daunting, right? But it's really just about planting a seed for their future. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through a simple but really powerful framework to help you teach your kids the core ideas of growing money, not just, spending it.
Okay, so this is the question every single kid is going to ask. It's the perfect place to start. From their point of view, a treat right now is way, way better than a maybe treat later on. I mean, it makes sense, right? Our goal here is to give you the tools to answer this question in a way that just clicks for them.
So a really great way to reframe this is with a simple analogy. You could say something like, look, if you eat all your mangoes today, well, they're gone. But what if you plant just one of those seeds? You could grow a whole tree that gives you mangoes for years and years. See? That's the heart of investing. You're not just divvying up your money, you're planting it.
All right, to make this real for a kid, especially if they're around that 9 to 12 age range, we've got to connect it to their world. So let's see how this all works using something they definitely understand. Candy.
You can just ask them this simple question directly. Frame it like they're running a mini business. They buy something for a low price, and they sell it for a higher one. So what happens? I bet they'll know the answer almost instantly.
And that is your opening. They made a profit. It's the reward for their effort, right? A real, tangible result from a super simple action. Okay, so now let's connect this little idea of profit to the much, much bigger idea of investing.
This right here, this is the magic word, ownership. You can explain that investing is kind of like buying a tiny piece of a much bigger candy shop. And when that shop makes a profit, you as an owner get a little piece of that profit. You're not just a customer spending money anymore, you're an owner growing it. That's a huge shift. Abstract ideas can be tough, right? Especially for kids. They learn best when they can actually see and touch things. So let's make this whole concept of growth something they can physically watch happen, right there in their own room. This is what's called the 3 jars method. And trust me, it's incredibly simple but so effective. You just get 3 jars and label them. The spend jar, that's for immediate fun. The save jar is for bigger goals or maybe for emergencies. But the grow jar, that's where the magic really happens. That one is for their future wealth.
So let's just start with a single pound in the grow jar. This is their first investment. It's the seed they're planting. It's small, it's simple, and believe me, it's the beginning of a really powerful lesson.
Then, every week or so, you can add a little return, let's say 5 pence, and you explain that this is the money their money made. It was actually working for them even while they were sleeping or out playing. How cool is that?
And when you add another return the next week, they can physically see the amount in the jar going up. It's not just some number on a screen, it's real money and it's growing right in front of them. This visual proof, this is often the exact moment the whole lesson really truly clicks.
Okay, so once they see that money can grow, the next really crucial lesson is that, well, it doesn't happen overnight. And this is where we teach them that one of the most important tools for any investor is just patience. I think this is such a great way to put it, because at its heart, this isn't just about money, it's about building character. When you teach them to invest, you're really teaching them the power of waiting for a bigger reward later on, and that's a skill that's going to help them in every single part of their life.
So how do you explain this whole patience thing? Well, you can use another really powerful analogy. Just ask them, what's faster, a microwave or growing a tree? The microwave is super fast, right? But it only heats up a small meal. A tree, on the other hand, is incredibly slow, but over years, it grows into something massive that can provide shade and fruit for a lifetime. Real wealth, it works like a tree, not a microwave.
Okay, now we have to talk about risk, but we need to do it without making it scary. The absolute key here is to normalize the ups and downs. A really simple way to frame this is to say that investing is, well, it's a bit like the weather.
So for example, some days are going to be sunny, and their investment grows. But other days, they might be rainy, and it could shrink a little bit. But, and this is the important part, just like with the weather, the seasons always change. Over the long run, there are way more sunny days than rainy ones, and the overall trend is growth. So far, we've mostly talked about the how, but to keep a kid really engaged, they need a why. I mean, investing just for the sake of numbers? That's boring. But investing for a dream? Now that's exciting. Just ask them this question. What is it they really want in the future? Is it a new bike, that big video game console, the latest phone? Or maybe it's something bigger, like helping to pay for university down the road. When you connect their money to a specific personal goal, investing stops being just about math and becomes emotional and way more motivating. And this This is where you can kind of blow their mind a little. You can show them how their money doesn't just grow, it actually accelerates. That £1, if it's growing at 10% a year, makes 10p in the first year. Okay, simple enough. But by year 10, it's more than doubled. And they'll ask why, and the answer is because the money it earns starts earning its own money. That's the secret ingredient right there. Time.
Now, it's absolutely vital to frame setbacks in the right way. Kids are going to panic about losses if they see us panic. So instead, you can teach them that losses are just lessons. You can say something like, hey, even the best investors in the world make mistakes. That's exactly how they learn to get better. This approach builds confidence and a ton of resilience.
Now, for you, the parent, I think it's so important to remember what you're really teaching here. This goes so far beyond just finance. What you're doing is instilling a powerful, lifelong mindset.
Think about it. When a child learns to invest early, they just naturally start to develop these incredible traits. They start thinking long-term. They learn to resist that impulse to spend on every little thing they see. They build real emotional control around money. And maybe most importantly, they start seeing themselves as someone who builds wealth, not just someone who consumes it.
Look, if there is one single idea you want them to remember from all of this, it's this right here. Spenders use money. Investors grow money. It's that simple. It's a powerful lesson that can stick with them for their entire life. And really the only question left to ask them is, which one do you want to be?